Hello and welcome back to Crimson Grey, where last episode we took Lizzie to the pharmacy to get a blood test. She's absolutely crazy. We said Yandere, the tablets that she's going to have, and she just took it without even having a drink. 3 of John's friends, quotation marks, showed up. She's going to kill them. She's going to absolutely hack them up. Stabby stab stab with her knife. Cut them into small pieces. Put them through one of those wood chippers. On Sunday, John woke up utterly miserable. It took him several minutes just to push the sheets off his face. Then he immediately winced at the light. There was probably no way he was going to get out of bed for the entire day, not feeling like this. He had homework due on Monday. But he just didn't care. He'd get hungry eventually, but it didn't compare to the deeper emptiness gnawing at him. Everything hurt, and nothing mattered. Just when he was going to roll over and futilely attempted to go to sleep, he heard someone knocking on the door. "Good morning, John!" He stared at the ceiling for a while, then pulled his sheets over his face. Not today. He had no energy for anyone else. She'd have to take care of herself. Soon enough, she stopped knocking. Good. John let the blanket stay on his face, but he didn't close his eyes, just staring at the fabric. She's probably in the room. That was when he heard the front door close. Under normal circumstances, he would have been upset or uncomfortable, but in the grip of depression, he barely registered what it meant. "Good morning, John!" He didn't respond. She didn't even seem to notice, moving closer and pulling the blankets away from his face. "Are you having a bad day? Don't worry, Lizzie would take care of you." And with that, she began bustling around him, apparently not even caring that he didn't respond. She untangled his sheets and tucked him in better, humming a little tune the entire time. Jesus. "Stay right there, okay?" She gave him a little peck on the cheek, then skipped out of the room. He heard her go across the floor, enter the kitchen, and began opening things. Strangely, just having her presence helped. The worst part of the day couldn't get out of bed was actually the boredom. The worst part of the day he couldn't get out of bed was actually the boredom. He didn't want to do anything, but that left his mind grinded against itself. Now at least he had Lizzie to listen to. It sounds like she found the pots and pans pretty quickly and turned on the stove. Since his mother had left, most of them didn't get much use. John's father never cooked anything, and though John had learned to cook for himself, he usually just used the same pan every day. Ew. Well, he most likely washed it, I don't know. Okay, the music though. Was she really going to cook for him? He recalled that her lunches had been pretty good, so maybe he had something to look forward to. Lizzie popped in again to open his window and let fresh air in. He was afraid that she would try to talk to him, but she just smiled and when he looked at her and kept moving around. Soon she headed back out. Still humming to herself, eventually she returned with a steaming bowl of soup. John stared at it, so she sat down on his bed and held out a spoon for him. Eat up! You need your strength! It looked like she was going to hold the spoon in front of him until he ate it, so John gave in and accepted the spoonful. Even though his grey haze, it wasn't bad. He opened his mouth when she fed him another spoon. After he ate the soup, she left him alone again for a while, and he actually drifted to sleep. It was heavy exhaustion sleep, but it was better than nothing. When he woke up, Lizzie was sitting nearby staring at him with a dead look in her eyes, but John found that he didn't even care. She spent the entire day caring for him, always fussing around for his comfort and feeding him regardless of his objections. Somehow she managed to convince him to sit up, propped against some pillows, and once he was sitting up, it was easier for him to do something else, like read for a while. To his surprise, Lizzie actually pulled out some homework and began working through it, humming to herself. He wasn't sure why he was surprised. Obviously, she was a student too, but somehow he didn't think people like her actually worked or studied. By the end of the day, he was actually feeling close to better, but when he tried to get up, Lizzie kept him down with a gentle hand on his chest. You get better, okay? I'll see you on Monday. Oh, she's leaving? She stayed with him until he finally went to sleep for the night. It was only as he was drifting off peacefully that he realized that he had definitely locked the door the night before. On Tuesday, John and Lizzie ate lunch together. What happened to Monday? John and Lizzie ate lunch together as if everything was normal, and in some bizarre way, it really was. Perhaps due to the medication, she seemed so much more stable than before. She was sweet and kind at all time, always considerate and affectionate. Yet there was the occasional moment where she still seemed a little obsessed. The slightest positive comment from him would be interpreted as a sign of their distant love. But all in all, John was happier than he had been in a long time. His classmates even stopped messing with him about Lizzie, though he wasn't sure if that was because she seemed normal or because they were afraid of her. Yet he wasn't not really. He had a hard time believing that anyone could really love him, yet it seemed that Lizzie truly did. If anything, he worried that he could never love her back that intensely. He had an appointment scheduled with Miss Smith on Wednesday, yet for once, when he walked into her office, he didn't feel like he desperately needed it. Ready for your session today, John? Actually, I'm feeling really good. Maybe we should skip today. You should know better than that. If you stop the treatment that's making you feel better, you might have another relapse. No, you're right. I'm sorry. You're right. Sorry. Don't be sorry. Just lay down and take a load off. So, how have you been doing lately? Well, I'm okay, I guess. That's better than most weeks. So it looks like you're making progress. By the way, I've seen you pass with a girl. Are you two dating? Yes. Because she's a stalker. She's got to be hearing this, and yeah. That's probably good for you. You need more relationships. But I have to ask, have the two of you been intimate? What? How can you ask that? I'm not teasing you. This is a very serious question. You better not be... Hold on, what's the music sound like? You better not be leading up to giving me a lecture about safe sex or abstinence or anything. So, should I take that as a no? Yes, no, we haven't done anything like that. It's good to hear that you're at least expressing interest. Koitek got back to me about Eurospan Eurospan. There we go. And it's still decades from viability, so we don't have a solid option for libido issue. Can we talk about something else? Anything else? Sorry to make you uncomfortable, John, but I do need to be concerned about your welfare in all respects. To that end... Okay. Just a friend playing a game. I thought that was an achievement for something. To that end, I need to ask one more question. Has the girl ever displayed any strange behaviour, erratic tendencies? What kind of Well, for example, fixation bordering on a serious OCD, maybe violent tendencies, mood swings. Those are pretty specific symptoms. Is something wrong? No, just covering all the bases. Why? I can't believe you think that kind of thing about Lizzie. I'm not being rude, John. This is important. You see, I looked up the girl's record, and to my surprise, I actually knew her mother. You knew Lizzie's mother? Yes, Abby Doss took part in one of our early clinical trials. She was one of the women who had to be removed from the study when we learned that they had lied about being pregnant at the time. Plus, I thought she displayed addictive tendencies. I understand she's began abusing prescription painkillers later in life too. The poor girl probably had a hard childhood. So anyway, I just hope that the girl turned out alright. Any drugs taken while someone is in utero can have permanent long-term impact, so I'm glad the girl turned out normal. Moving on, you seem so much better. I assume the issues of emotional greyness took care of itself? Yeah, of course. Miss Smith seemed so positive. He couldn't bring himself to tell the truth because despite the general improvements in his life, the aspect of it had not. Lizzie was a single spot of colour in his world, but the rest was even greyer than before. The rest of their session passed in a grey blur. When it was over, John was in a strange mood. He felt a little better, but not much. Usually after a therapy session, he floated in an empty tranquility, but now his mind was racing. He impatiently sat through his next class, but his mind was on what Miss Smith said about Lizzie's mother. Could that be a part of the reason of her instability? Damn it. When he had a free period, John headed straight to the library and tried to look up past incidents. It was hard to find information on Koitek, old trials, but when he eventually gave in and looked at the microfilm, he actually found some relevant articles. He knew that Lizzie had been born in 1972. Ooh. 1972, okay. So he was able to skim back to around the time she had been born. He actually found the birth announcement in the local paper easily, but for the rest he was left searching aimlessly through shitty local articles. And then, all at once, it was easy. There was a series of articles that took his strength from a boring whim to something that had him on the edge of his seat. Apparently, before it was called Coatec, the company had been called Pharmafax. They'd rebranded after a series of drug recalls, and recalls had ruined their reputation. John sat back, unable to read any further. Was that really the explanation? I felt so cheap. It was easy to assume that Lizzie's mother had been involved in one of the recalled Pharmafax trials, and her unborn child must have suffered the consequences. Could that really have unbalanced Lizzie this way? If so, that meant that this was no phase she was going through. If her early development had been altered, she was probably this way for life. Yet the second emotion he felt was anger. Anger at that Miss Smith or anyone else could think Lizzie was just some freak chemical accident. It was too much like the scorn that had been heaped on him for his depression. Whatever his problem, Lizzie was a person who deserved respect, help, but respect before anything else. Depression quickly followed on his heels of his anger. Unable to deal with any more of those thoughts, John just walked out without even replacing the microfilm. He drifted through the rest of the day, still stirring over what he learned. At times, he could almost convince himself that this was a good thing. If the drugs had unbalanced Lizzie, maybe they could balance her again. He could almost imagine them together, helping each other, maybe even getting married. When she passed him in the hallway, her eyes lit up, not in a mere elation, but with a burning intensity. And in a moment, John was sure that Lizzie could be cured. The question was, did he want her to be? Several days later... What the fuck? Several days later, as they were leaving after school, Lizzie caught up with him, an odd look on her face. John, I'm so happy. Really? I spent so long just watching you, imagining what it would be like to say hello, to hear you say my name, for you to look at me. That we can actually talk like this, it's like a dream, a wonderful dream I never want to end. I'm happy I met you too, Lizzie. This past week has been fun. Say, how is the Yandere working out for you? No unpleasant side effects? It's wonderful. Thank you so much for giving it to me. Well, I hope we can find you some more. I hope we can find you some more once this dose runs out. Some drugs you can renew week to week, but I don't know about this one. It could be a pain. Oh no. I wouldn't want you to go to any trouble for me. But it's helping, right? I want you to be able to have more if you want it. That's so sweet, but it's not necessary. It helped us get closer together, didn't it? That's enough. But John, we've been dating since you accepted my confession, but we've only done normal things. I love being with you every single moment, but can we do something more romantic? They might as well People already thought of them as dating, and she seemed so sweet for so long. What was the worst that could happen? Please? We have a lot of options, considering that we have all the next week off. But we don't have to wait that long. How about we plan something for Friday night? I don't have a car to pick you up, but I can take you to a nice restaurant. Sometimes I wish I had a car. All I got is a motorbike. And during fall, that's a terrible thing to take people on. Did I say fall? I meant autumn. My bad. Ah, yes. Good. Then it's a plan. Friday. She would still have a day or two of medication left on Friday. John figured she would stay stable. Maybe the date would leave her happy enough that she'd change her mind about staying on her meds. No matter what mistakes her mother made, maybe Lizzie could be stable with the right treatment. John really thought this could work out between them. It's gotta be Friday, right? Okay, hold on. Well, I've been your main man, Aaron Paradise. I'm gonna leave the video off here. Thank you for watching. Please like, subscribe, comment and share, all that fancy stuff, and I shall see you in the next episode. Thank you, and bye.